Then he says, Swayam Brahmati Sansare Swayam Tasmad Vimuchyate. Everyone receives the fruits of his own deeds, and he is responsible for his own birth and his journey in this world, he says here, and he's responsible for his own what? Liberation as well. So we are responsible for our coming into existence. We are responsible for what happens during our existence, and we are also responsible for what happens to us after the earthly existence. Will we all agree to that? Yeah. Nobody is responsible for you and I but who? Yourself. And so we had mom and dad took care of us, right? Because they were God's instrument, God helpers, and then we get all grown up and we take on a nice partner, and then our spouse, our husband, our wife, they help us along too. They help us along, and then we're blessed with children, and we're going to help the children like our parents helped us. And then as we get old, they might, if they choose to, it's not a given anymore. If they choose to, they help as well. So you see how cyclical things are? But we always have to remember that nobody is responsible for our welfare, our mundane welfare, our spiritual welfare, but who? Ourselves. And so we want to look at Ramcharitmanas, and we will offer these prayers to Bhagwanji. Hari Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswatyai Namaha, Shri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namaha. कथारंभन होत है सुनो वीर हनुमान, आइए आसन लीजिए सिया सहित भगवान। नीलांबुज श्यामल कोमलांग, सीता समार विक्रमांग भाग, पादु महासायक चारुचापम, नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचंद्राय वेदसे, रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः। हरि ओम। शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। And so there were two brothers by name of Sugriva and who? Bali. And one day, thinking that Bali was killed, right? What happened? Sugriva ascended the throne all innocently, and after some time, what happened? Bali, he was able to return. I'm summarizing here now. And when he returned, what did he do? He put some good licks on his little brother, and he teased him. And his brother had to go in hiding because he was afraid that he was going to get killed by who? By his elder brother Bali. And Bali took all the possessions that his brother had, even including the wife of Sugriva. Could you imagine that? Everything he took, including his little brother's wife. And so one day someone came along. Who came along? Hanumanji. He met Bhagavan Shri Ram and Lakshmana, and they were walking. And as they were walking, he disguised himself as a fool, as a Brahman. For he was not sure. Could you imagine? Hanumanji was not sure as to who these individuals were. But when they were little children, Hanumanji used to be one of their playmates, very close to Bhagavan Shri Ram. And how would Hanumanji not know Bhagavan? Right? And so he went all these questionings, and what happened? He realized who he was, who Bhagavan Shri Ram was, and created the alliance. Hanumanji, he's the great welder. He brings the devotee towards his Bhagavan. And so he brought the alliance, the relationship, the friendship of Bhagavan Shri Ram and Sugriva into existence. And Bhagavan made one promise. The promise was to do what? To help his friend. Help his friend do what? Keep him safe from Bali. Bring the end to Bali. And so one day, as Bali and Sugriva were now facing each other, they were fighting. Who was the strongest? Bali was stronger because Bali was even stronger than who? Than Ravan. Bali was stronger than Ravan. It is said that so much so Bali was a better warrior that he even made Ravan the playmate of his little son, Angad. Angad's new toy was Ravan. So mighty Bali was. And so Bhagavan Sri Ram, realizing that Sugriv was no match to Bali, he finally took out one of his arrows and he let the arrow. Where did he put the arrow? On the bow. And he released it. Where did it go? Into the heart of Bali. And there's the end of Bali. Prabhu Ram, Shri Ram, Prabhu Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram. प्रभु को पहचान कर उसने अपना जन्म सफल माना. And Bali, when he was hit by the arrow, he fell to the ground. Imagine somebody shoots an arrow, what would happen to you? I know I'd be gone, right? I'd be gone. You guys might be more braver than me. And so he lied on the ground, and he was in terrible pain, terrible pain. He was wounded. He was like a wounded animal, and he was so restless. And then he saw, who did he saw? He saw Bhagavan Shri Ram. And when he saw Bhagavan Shri Ram, he got up and he stayed. You know, it is not polite to stay with people, except the exception to the rule is when it comes to Bhagavan. You can fill your eyes. You can be the most thirsty. The thirsty of the, you have not had a drink for years. When you come to Bhagavan, drink as much with your ears. Fill the thirst, the yearning, as much as you want. Stay with Bhagavan. And he was staring. And he's staring. Prabhu ko pehchan, he realized who it was. He realized it was Prabhu. Usne apna janma safal mana. And there and then, he felt within his heart and his mind that his life has become fulfilled. He sat up because he recognized. He did not recognize Shri Ram, the son of Dasharath, the friend of whom? Sugriv. But he recognized who it was as his Prabhu. He got up and he looked. He saw his Prabhu. He filled his eyes to the maximum. And what happened? The realization came that I am accomplished. 728. I am accomplished because I have gotten the darshan. I have beheld my Bhagwan Ji. My Bhagwan Ji. उसके हृदय में प्रभु उठा, किंतु राम की ओर देखकर वह कठोर वचन बोला. His heart was filled with love for Bhagwan. Filled with love for Bhagwan. But what happens? He opened his mouth and all kinds of harsh words came. Imagine when we verbalize, sometimes we attach the heart to it, and sometimes we attach the mind to it, and sometimes we attach nothing to it, and we just let it out. You can tell the individual who attaches his heart to his words. They're all madhur, they're all sweet, they're like honey, and they like all of this pira that somebody brought to Bhagwan Ji to be beautiful. And you can see and understand and appreciate someone who is very thoughtful, an academic individual who uses the best vocabulary, beautiful words, they're so eloquent. And then you can understand and appreciate and feel the blows of those individuals who attach not the heart, they give it no thought, but they open their mouth like a machine gun and they just blah, 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 non-stop. Most cases, because the heart is not attached and because the mind is not attached, we see things that are inappropriate. Let us hear this chopper here as Bali speaks of Bhagavan. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram Shri Ram You have come upon this earth for a reason. Your manifestation is for a reason, and that is for the protection and the upliftment of Dharam. That is why you have come to restore Dharam in this world that we live in, this world that you have created. और मुझे शिकारी की तरह छिप कर मारा है, and you hid like a hunter, O Bhagavan, behind a tree, like a hunter, waiting for its prey to come. And what happened? You shot me, O Bhagavan. You shot me like a hunter. मैं आपका बैरी तथा सुग्री आपका प्रिय हो गया. I have become, I Bali, have become your enemy, whereas Sugriv has become your priya. He has become your dost. He has become your friend. He has become your friend. And he said, Hey Nath, oh my Lord, किस दोष के कारण मुझे मारा है? For what reason? What fault? What wrong have I done that you have slain me today? Often we ask ourselves the same question, what wrong did I do? What's wrong? But that application, that questioning is often superficial. Whenever something happens, we've got to do what is called a root cause analysis. We've got to go beyond the surface. We've got to keep digging. We've got to dig within ourselves. Remember what Chandra said? Whatever good happens, whatever bad happens, we'll be able to either grieve about it or enjoy it or celebrate, and it is because of our own doing. Whatever the outcome, it is because we have caused it to be. So, why? What wrong have I done? We've got to dig deeper and we've got to find out from ourselves what we have done to cause our present day situation, my dear friends. And so Bhagavan is hearing. Let us hear his reply to Raja Bali. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Wherever there is love, where is love? Love is in the heart. Bali had love for whom? For Bhagavan. And so when he's asking all these questions, he's not asking at someone else there, but he's asking within himself. He's asking within his being. He's asking the self within him. He's asking his Prabhu. He's asking his Bhagavan. And so what is the answer Bhagavan gives? Hey Dush, oh terrible individual, ओ बाली, छोटे भाई की स्त्री, बहन, पुत्र की स्त्री और कन्या, ये चारों समान है. And there is equality in a younger brother's wife, in a sister, and even a son's, the wife of a son, even they're all the same. Daughter, they're all the same. So, yeah, your brother's wife, your sister, your bahu, and a daughter, you should always look at them with the same eyes. With the same eyes of respect. With the same eyes of respect. Just like you look upon your daughter. All of these. And what did he do? What wrong did Bali do? When he defeated Sugriva and chased him away, he took his wife. That is the sin that he did. This Bali, although he had love in his heart for Bhagavan, he committed a terrible sin. And it continues, इन्हें जो बुरी दृष्टि से देखता है उसे माने में बिल्कुल भी पाप नहीं है. And that individual who has become sinful, who has lost respect for his brother's wife, his son's wife, his daughter, all these beautiful divine feminine aspect of Bhagavan, when that individual has done horrible things to them, has become disrespectful, then the destruction of that individual is not sin. It is not the sin. to destroy the demons who disrespect, disregard, and do horrible things to the female population. What happens? It is not a sin to bring an end to them. So often we find in India where there is 1.4 billion people, there is all sorts of terrible things. All sorts of terrible things. Now they have segregated the train cars. Ladies are only allowed in a train car where men are not allowed. And so the male and female population in the train I've seen has been segregated because of disregard and disrespect. There's a lot of instances and incidents where women are being harmed, they're being violated in the most horrible manner. And these sinners, Bhagavan is saying, to bring an end to them, to destroy them, it is not evil, it is not demonic, it is not sinful. And so Bhagavan is saying, what I have done today is not sinful, but it is blessed. It is blessed. He's saying this to Bali, and he's saying this to all of us. We ought to be mindful. Hey Murk, O fool, tujhe bada abhiman hai, tujhe bada abhiman. You are boastful, you are full of pride, you have become terribly arrogant. तूने अपनी स्त्री की सीख पर भी ध्यान नहीं दिया. And when your wife went to talk to you, when your wife went to give you counsel, you did not even listen. You paid a deaf ear. And you know, the person who has our best interests at heart is often who? The spouse. Whether it is the husband, or in most cases, it is the wife. When we are bent on destruction, when we become ultimately stubborn, then what happens? We don't listen. And what happens when you don't listen to good advice? Terrible things come. Terrible things come. And that is what has happened to you. You have violated the basic tenets of our faith. You have done wrong by your brother, and you have been terribly disrespectful. You have done terribly, you have done wrong things, my dear Bali, and because of that, it is biased, it is the right thing to bring an end to you, Bhagavan is saying. Let us hear, as Bali now speaks to Bhagavan, hearing what Bhagavan had to say. Ab naat kari daru nagi lokahu dehu jo बर मांगहु यही जोनी जन्मो कर्म बस कह राम पद अनुराग. And listening to what Bhagavan said to him, telling him the reasons for his demise, how sinful he became, he accepted what Bhagavan was saying. And so acceptance is a difficult thing for most of us. When we do wrong, somebody tells us we do wrong, we don't want to listen mostly, and we don't want to accept. But he is now accepting that he has done wrong, that he has sinned, and accepting that, he says to Bhagavan, He Nath, ab mujh par daya kijiye. Bhagavan, I have done wrong, and now I throw myself at your mercy. So someone who has done wrong, they stand in front of the judge, and instead of saying, no, I didn't do that, and say all kind of terrible things, yes, I have done wrong, and I place myself at your mercy. Please have mercy upon me. Or jo var mai mangu vah var pradhan kijiye. And that wish that I have in mind, that which I am going to ask of you today, O Bhagavan, accepting my fault, accepting that I have done wrong, there is, as I surrender unto you, Bhagavan, there is a desire, there is a wish. Please grant it, O Bhagavan. Please grant it. And what is that wish? He says, Apne karmanusar mai jis yoni mein bhi janma loo, wahi Shri Ram ke charanon mein prem bana rahe. And he says, because we are individuals who believes in karma and birth and death, it is not always certain that at the end of our life journey that we become emancipated. The wish and the desire that you and I have is that at the end of this life journey we become liberated and we become one with Bhagavan and we escape the birth, the life, the cycle of birth and death. But that often doesn't happen because we have not done enough. And so here Bali is saying that birth after birth, he says, birth after birth, whatever life, whatever form I may assume in my next birth, with all the good deeds that I have done so far, excluding the sin that I have committed, and because I have love in my heart for you as I presently ask of this wish and desire, O Bhagavan, O Almighty God, let that love and let that devotion continue. Continue for whom? For you, O Bhagavan. And so let I always, my heart, my mind, my body, be dedicated to your feet. Be dedicated to your feet. Let us hear this final Chopariya. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai when the body and the soul is going to separate, what you should do? You should turn to Bhagavan. You turn to Bhagavan. But often we don't turn to Bhagavan because it said if you do turn to Bhagavan at that time when the soul leaves the body, what happens? You gain salvation. You gain salvation. But because again, going back to 728, because we have not made that practice, we have not practiced ourselves, we have not kept that routine, we have not habituated the thought of bhajan and kirtan. We have not thought that we need to spend some time reciting the name of Bhagavan, that we should maintain some sort of relation. We're just so busy with everything else that we have forgotten God. And if it's not part of us, not because it has not become our nature, then how is it that at the time when most of us want to live forever, that we don't think about God at that time? If I want to live forever, at that time when death is there, I'm going to fight because I don't want to die. I'm going to give it my 110% effort. I'm going to struggle. I'm going to put up my fist. I'm going to do whatever. As death approaches me, I'm going to fight with Yamaraj and his messengers because I don't want to die. So instead of thinking about Bhagavan and surrendering to his will, surrendering to him, and accepting that death is his destiny and that death is going to happen, we're all fighting, thinking about all the nonsensical things, thinking about all our property, all our wealth, all our children, all our spouse, all these other things that are not beneficial to who? To our soul. Bali was a Raja, he sat on a golden throne, he had all sorts of treasure, he had everything he had. What did he want? He wanted to have endless love for Bhagavan. Bhara Brahmangu Harshadeva Shiram Pada Sarojana Pavani. I want to love you. One janam, two janam, every time I'm manifested in whatever form, whatever shape, whether I come as an ant, whether I come as a cat, whether I come a dog, whether whatever form you decide that I come based on my karma, based on your grace of Bhagavan, I want to have one thing. I want to just have love. Love for you. I have done wrong, but I seek refuge of feet Please, oh Bhagavan, I don't want anything else, but I just want to have love for you. And so what happened? Shri Ram ne Bali ko apne dham bhej diya. Apne dham bhej diya. And so Bhagavan Ji, he did what? Listening to the prayer as Bali sought refuge in the feet of Bhagavan, wounded in the most terrible manner, thinking of his soul, Bhagavan, the most merciful, he brought fulfillment to this individual who now becomes accomplished, 728, because he's not thinking about the likes and dislikes, he's not thinking about all those superficial, mundane things of this world. He applies his heart to Bhagavan, and Bhagavan grants him what? Final beatitude, a final resting place where Param Dhamma, Param Shanti, in that beautiful abode where there's eternal peace. Whose abode, devotees? That abode of Bhagavan. And so, this individual who's done wrong, realizing and appreciating, embracing it, seeking refuge at the feet of Bhagavan, dedicates himself to Bhagavan, begs for nothing else but unending love. Bhagavan now gives him more than he asked for, gives him a place in his abode, oneness with Bhagavan. Devotees, that is the thought that we need to have on a continuous basis. Yes, we've got to do all the routines of life, we've got to do all the things, fulfill our obligations, responsibilities, we've got to do all these things. But we've got to think about ourselves, we've got to think about our soul, we've got to think about the purpose of our life journey, and we've got to do better. We've got to be better. We've got to strive for greatness. We've got to become accomplished. Yes, we've got to be accomplished in the material aspect of life, but it is even better to become accomplished in what? In the spiritual aspect, where you would have fulfilled the purpose of your existence. May God bless you, and may you have a wonderful week ahead. We'll all stand for Aarti. Shri Lakshmi Narayana Bhagwan ki Jai.